This unsettling clip features a man filming himself from his bed in the dead of night. His complexion looks drained, his expression hollow with fear and exhaustion. He explains that he had just jolted awake running a fever, with an overwhelming sense that something had made its way into his bedroom. Initially, most viewers wrote it off as a fever dream, a hallucination brought on by being sick. But then he swings the camera toward the door, and what it reveals is something considerably harder to dismiss. See for yourself what his camera picked up. The door begins to swing open by itself, and through the growing gap steps a towering figure unlike anything you'd expect to see. It's impossibly slender, with elongated limbs, and its head appears strangely oversized relative to the rest of its gaunt frame. Seconds pass, and the figure appears to cross the threshold into the room. The man behind the camera immediately loses his composure and jerks it away. When he finally brings it back around, the figure has apparently closed the distance and is now positioned much closer, lurking near the far wall. Ever since the clip surfaced online, it has sparked a wave of competing explanations. Skeptics argue it's nothing more than a planned stunt or someone dressed up in a suit. Others have drawn connections to accounts of strange humanoid entities, described consistently as skeletal, long-limbed creatures that drift soundlessly through the darkness. Nobody has managed to settle the debate, and whether this footage documents a bad dream, an elaborate fake, or something genuinely inexplicable remains an open question. On the night of December 1st, 2019, young Oscar Nunez Jr. slips out of his bedroom to catch some late-night TV and eventually drifts off on the couch. His dad, Oscar, isn't exactly shocked. This kind of thing has happened more than once. But that particular night, something far more disturbing was about to unfold. The family had already been dealing with a series of strange events around that time, including an unsettling swarm of flies that had gathered around their home. They were already convinced something wasn't right, and they believe what the camera recorded while the boy was fast asleep may be directly tied to all of it. When Oscar went back through the footage, he discovered a figure just standing completely still in the hallway at 3 in the morning, despite the fact that nobody else in the house was up. What makes it even stranger is that his son, who had been tossing and turning on the couch, appeared to sense its presence. Then, just like that, the figure was gone, the hallway completely clear, as if nothing had been there at all. Oscar couldn't stop thinking that this chilling moment was somehow tied directly to that recent fly infestation surrounding the home. So what's your take on this one? A group of friends found themselves trapped in an elevator as the situation rapidly spiraled out of control, leaving them no option but to cry out for help and pull out their phones to document what was happening.
The elevator is acting mad weird. We started a few floors up and
As one of them hit record, He did his best to describe the chaos unfolding around them. Suddenly, a thunderous bang rang out as the elevator jolted violently and the lights cut out completely.
Alright, so the power is out. The backup, yeah, there you go. The backup generator's been coming on and off. We've been having the time of our lives. And yeah, we're like cooking alive. We're happy. Yeah. We've made a life in here. When scientists find our bodies 100 years from now, they will see 3 happy men.
3 hot, happy men.
The power went out and they had to stay in the dark while waiting for someone to come help them. No one came, so they were stuck there.
There you go. Oh. Oh, he's cooking something.
What are you doing?
Yep. Yep.
I gotta pee.
Oh, you gotta pee.
It's making my bladder.
It's on his bladder.
I gotta pee.
You gotta pee.
Well, like a rapper. Go. I gotta pee.
Oh, yeah.
I'm holding my bladder.
Yep.
I gotta pee. I don't know what else is going. I gotta pee. It's making me mad. I'm like so ignorant. I gotta pee. I'm ignorant like Bowser.
Guys, this is...
The guys were clearly rattled, though they tried to shake it off with laughter and wisecracks. Little did they know that brief moment of levity was just the beginning, because things were about to get a whole lot stranger.
It worked. No. What is... Alright, so it's been doing this for a minute, and there's nothing out there.
Are we too heavy? You're too heavy.
Ah, yeah, Sergio. Ascensor. Man, you need to hit that gym.
Mr. Dad. 1888 kilogram. What's going on?
Right, you wanna
Yeah.
figure it out?
Yeah.
Alright, no, that did something.
No. Dude, I don't know. Lay it on there.
What is going on?
Are we too heavy? Is there someone there? What the?
The elevator doors began opening and snapping shut again entirely on their own. A man checked into a hotel room in Mexico, and as he tried to get some sleep that night, something deeply unsettling started unfolding around him. He got the distinct feeling that whatever was present wasn't human, more like something from another plane of existence trying to reach out to him, see what his camera captured.
Really scary going on in here right now. I'm in the hotel room, and I was laying here watching CNN, and that phone fell off its cradle, and I have no idea why. One of those cups right there fell off onto the floor down in here. I have no idea how that happened. It didn't fall out there where the light would hit. It fell, came down, went over and under the sink and landed right in here in this shadowy area. It's really freaking me out. So I decided to turn on I decided to turn on my phone because I can't figure out what's going on, and it's happened a couple times already. And I don't know. Oh, crap. I know I got that. That's crazy. The phone's not even plugged in on the wall, but it's coming off its cradle by itself. I tell you guys, this stuff is really freaking me out. This cup is the one that fell and landed under here. I don't know why. I don't know why that's going on, but that's really, really freaky. Can you move something else again for me? Anything? Oh! I can't hear you.
As he was describing what was going on, a phone sitting on the table suddenly slid off and hit the floor with no one near it. Shaken, he came to the realization that some kind of presence in that room was actively trying to make contact.
Is there anything at all? Is there a place that you want to go to? A place that you need to be? Anything? Cool. Okay, it's freaking me out, but you're not really scary. If I open the door, will you leave? Because I really would like to get to sleep. I'm opening the door. You are welcome to leave. Can you move the phone again?
Whatever was there began responding to him, almost as if cooperating, despite nothing being visible to the naked eye. The man became convinced he was dealing with a spirit that had sought him out, perhaps needing something from him. Once the footage spread across the internet, opinions were split. Some called it the most convincing proof of paranormal communication they had ever seen, while skeptics wrote it off as nothing more than a setup. But the way certain objects shifted and a towel dropped seemingly on cue was difficult to explain away. There were plenty of questions swirling around, but the answers remained just out of reach. A mother by the name of Amy regularly posts cheerful footage of her family's everyday life, with a lot of her content featuring the whole household drifting off to sleep together. But on the night of June 14th, 2020, the security camera mounted in their bedroom recorded something deeply unsettling while everyone was sound asleep. See for yourself. With both the mother and child completely unconscious and oblivious, the camera picks up movement near the edge of the bed. A strange, dark, smoky shape appears to drift behind them. Then the pillowcase begins to subtly crease before the large pillow abruptly rolls over on its own and shifts back again, with no visible explanation. The camera tilts down to capture the full scene, and there is simply no one there. In all the countless nights they have shared a bed, she has never witnessed anything remotely like this. So what exactly is that dark, smoke-like presence? And could it be the very thing responsible for moving that pillow? Security guard was doing his solo patrol through a shuttered movie theater complex when something brought him to an immediate halt, the unmistakable sound of a child crying somewhere deep inside the building. No screenings were running. The place had been cleared of all visitors. The complex had been closed to the public for several hours already, yet somewhere within those dark, deserted halls, a small child was audibly weeping. In the footage, a young child appears near the ticket counter, visibly distressed and in tears. On the surface, it almost resembles a lost toddler who'd wandered off from their family. But the guard insisted that scenario simply shouldn't have been possible. He stated the entire building had been vacant since early that same morning. That's precisely what kept him from approaching immediately. Instead, he stood frozen at a distance and pulled out his camera because something about what he was seeing didn't sit right with him. Then, as the child drifted slowly toward the far end of the complex, the crying cut off completely. No echoing footsteps down the corridor, no voice calling out, no door swinging open. The whole building fell into total silence, as though the child had simply been swallowed by the darkness. He later swept the entire premises, going through every hallway, screening room, bathroom, and restricted space he could reach, and came up completely empty. No child, no unlocked exit, no explanation for how someone that small could have entered or disappeared without leaving any trace. No missing child report was ever filed that evening. No parents came forward at any point, and no clear conclusion was ever reached by anyone who looked into it. So was this all just some bizarre misunderstanding? Or did this security guard actually record something supernatural inside an abandoned movie theater? This next clip was posted to TikTok by a woman named Marie, whose account is normally dedicated to food content. Recently, though, she shared something entirely out of the ordinary, an old recording she had dug up from her camera roll that dated back several years. She explained that the footage was from 2016, during a sleepover at her home with her cousin. It was late at night, and the two of them were just goofing around filming random stuff, when their camera picked up something neither of them could account for.
Vines. Come on. Come here. Sit. We're gonna do the vines first thing.
Head outside.
The water bottle challenge. Come on.
Let's do it.
The screen
So I'll
side.
be walking and be like, now be outside. Let me outside. Okay?
Okay.
Start over.
Hello from the
Run
other
outside. Run
side.
outside. Run outside.
Walking really funny.
That one ready? Go.
Hold on, go over there and then go like. Dude, what the heck, man? Who are you? Hello? What was that? Did you guys see that? At least I got that on camera. Bye. Walking really funny.
At one point in the footage, a faint, translucent shape briefly drifts through the frame, and you can actually tell Marie notices it in real time while she's still filming, though she clearly has no idea what she's looking at. On top of that, soft whispers can be heard running throughout the clip. At one moment, she visibly reacts after apparently hearing a voice say the words, "Come here." But perhaps the most unsettling detail is what appears on the television screen in the background. For just a split second, a reflection of a figure can be seen moving across it. Here's the thing. Marie was seated on the couch holding the camera, and her cousin was in a completely separate room at the time, meaning no one else should have been in that space. What makes it even harder to dismiss is that her phone's flash was actively on, yet there's no visible reflection of it anywhere on the TV screen. She later said that both she and her cousin still live in that same house to this day, and continue to encounter things they simply cannot explain. So what's your take on this one? Is this somewhere you could see yourself living? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Around 5 in the morning, a Homeland Security camera in Toronto, Canada, recorded something extraordinary outside the residence of an identical twin. Footage that only came to his attention the following day. He was left completely stumped by what the camera had picked up, describing it as something he could only interpret as a strange psychic connection, before eventually finding someone online who offered a possible explanation. As a pair of pedestrians casually strolled past the property, something bizarre materialized across the street. A bright, glowing light that emerged from behind a tree and began moving in an erratic, almost deliberate manner before drifting toward the sidewalk near the house and hovering just above the ground, then vanishing without a single trace. The peculiar orange glow seemed to actually light up the pavement directly beneath it, giving it the appearance of a solid physical object genuinely interacting with its environment. During a summer trip in the Philippines, a young woman and her friend set out to explore a remote cave renowned for its strikingly clear water. They spent a while taking in the surroundings, swimming around, and capturing footage to document the experience. At some point, they made their way toward the back of the cave, realizing they were completely alone in there. Later, while reviewing what she had recorded near the far end of the cavern, she noticed something deeply unsettling. See for yourself what the camera picked up. Just beneath the water's surface, a pale face appeared to be lurking, its bright eyes locked directly onto them. Shaken, she immediately turned to look back at that exact spot, but there was nothing there at all. The water was clear enough that anything submerged would have been plainly visible, yet not a single trace of a body could be found. The two of them lingered nearby for quite a while afterward, but whatever had shown up in that footage never once broke the surface. On July 22nd, 2024, a video surfaced on the channel Corinne and Chelsea that felt completely out of place. The channel is typically associated with cheerful vlogs, playful challenges, and feel-good content. These two best friends have built their brand on good vibes and positive energy. So for their latest outing, their destination came as a shock, a place that has been frightening locals for generations. Thiering Woods, more widely recognized by its sinister nickname, the Screaming Woods. And that name isn't just for show. Over the years, an enormous number of visitors have reported hearing unexplained wailing echoing through the trees after dark. And that's not even the worst of it. Multiple bodies have been discovered within those woods under deeply suspicious circumstances. Still, curiosity pulled Corinne and Chelsea straight toward the heart of this dark legend. Was it nothing more than an exaggerated local myth, or was something genuinely lurking among those trees? Buzzing with nervous anticipation, they made their way toward the forest that so many people insist should never be entered once the sun goes down.
I'm Chelsea, and we are almost in, well, we are in Pluckley, and we are nearly at the Daring Woods, one of England's, I think it is actually, it's in the Guinness World Records for England's most haunted forest. So yeah, we're gonna
5 minutes.
We've got 5 minutes away. We're going to be staying there overnight. There's said to be 14 ghosts that haunt the village, because it's a village that we're going to. So they also call it the Screaming Woods, because people often report hearing screams from nowhere, footsteps in the woods, apparitions. There's been quite a few disappearances, and there was a massacre, and there was like a massive pile of unalived people that had been found in there. Oh look, here we go.
What, mate?
Yeah, the sign.
Eerie.
But yeah, already, even though we've got 4 minutes away, but we're already starting to feel a bit eerie. So
Busy.
Whoa! It's been a mission getting here as well. Got lost a little bit. Yeah, we went, well, for some reason we went to Ashford, like town centre, and I was like, surely we're not just going to turn into a village right now.
The moment they arrived at Daring Woods, they pushed straight in, hunting for a secluded spot to make camp. Daylight filtered through the canopy. Their voices bounced between the branches, then dissolved into stillness. Setting up the tent took far longer than it should have, not because of difficult terrain or bad weather, but because silence was mandatory. Camping in this area is completely prohibited, and the constant dread of being discovered kept every movement slow and deliberate. Eventually, camp was established, but the moment the sun slipped below the horizon and the forest was consumed by darkness, something changed. The atmosphere felt different. Even their laughter started to sound hollow. And then the realization hit them like a cold wave. They might not be the only ones out there.
Okay, so put it round. Shimmy it. Shimmy it all the way round. No, sit. What? Don't you break it? No, I didn't sit on it. I would take the things out so it goes flat. No.
Time lost its shape as the night dragged forward. They kept trying to joke around, to distract themselves from whatever was pressing in on them, but something primal kept cutting through, an instinct screaming at them to be careful. They pushed themselves to stay composed. After all, facing fear was the whole point of coming here. But the forest no longer felt like nature. It felt like something else entirely. Then came a moment neither of them could rationalize. The light inside their tent switched off on its own. Not once, twice. Maybe the batteries were dying, or maybe something out there, or someone, was interfering. The temperature fell sharply, the ambient sounds disappeared, and the silence that replaced them felt far more threatening than any noise.
Well, that's... Oh my god, you can't... That's got to go.
Yes, I know.
Oh my god, I totally forgot.
There, that's one of the best bits, I think.
What? Yeah, me burping like that. It's terrible. What?
That light turned itself off, mate, and it can't turn it off unless you hold it down.
It's probably the battery's
No,
going.
mate.
The battery's probably going.
Mate, I barely used it.
Mate.
I'm telling you right now. That doesn't... I'm telling you now.
Okay.
On my life.
All right.
You have to...
It doesn't matter. I don't care, do you?
Mate, that's creepy.
Do you
No,
care?
I'm fine. But
Okay. Oh my god, stop. Stop
I'm
it now.
telling you now.
Just stop it now. Just leave it off. Just leave it off. It's running out of battery.
Right, I'm putting this on because if that one goes out, I'm scared.
No.
Yeah.
It's running out of battery, that's all. I'm telling you now.
I haven't used it.
It's just running out of battery, that's all.
And do you know what? Maybe it is running out of battery, maybe it is, but...
I've got a logic explanation for
It
everything.
could be running out of battery, but
I really
I've
have.
never used it, except for that time we were in the church and took about 2 photos.
Motionless inside the tent, barely whispering, barely drawing breath, Corinne and Chelsea held their position, listening, waiting, willing whatever was outside to move on, and eventually, the presence seemed to pass. At first, the quiet felt like relief, but then it turned on them. If nothing was stirring, if nothing was making a sound, then where exactly had it gone? Had it left, or had it simply moved closer, staying still, keeping watch? With no safe way out and nothing to protect themselves with, they sat in complete darkness and hoped to go unnoticed.
Go. You've got to stick it up a bit. Look. Mate, how are we going to go? We've got so much stuff.
I don't give a
Nothing really that bad's happened, just the light's gone off twice.
Oh, you yourself.
Yeah, it is because it's creepy because it went back on when I pressed it on again, and to turn that off you have to hold it down for about 4 seconds. It doesn't just turn off.
Okay.
But the other one stayed on, so maybe that one was just running out. I don't know.
Should we go to sleep? Should we go to sleep now?
Turn the lights off. The car's there. Yeah.
They made it to morning without physical harm, but they were far from fine. The terror they'd experienced was genuine, and the gnawing feeling that something had been observing them throughout the entire night didn't leave when they packed up their gear and walked out of those trees. That was Corinne and Chelsea's first and final night in Daring Woods. The Screaming Woods had claimed 2 more names for its history and left 2 more people permanently marked by the feeling of being watched somewhere they never should have been. Would you ever spend a night in that forest? Or do you think what they experienced was nothing more than a woman named Laurie, based in London, is your typical everyday singer with absolutely zero history of engaging with paranormal content? Everything she posts revolves around her music and casual snippets of her day-to-day life. So it came as quite a surprise when she uploaded a childhood clip that left a lot of people deeply unsettled. She shared old footage of herself and her closest friend messing around in her bedroom, and she remembers clearly that the 2 of them were the only ones there. But once the video went up on Facebook, her followers spotted something lurking in the background that made her blood run cold. In the footage, the 2 girls are horsing around near a bunk bed while Laurie helps her friend try to climb up. Her friend keeps losing her grip, and just at the moment she starts tipping backwards, a pale white hand emerges from the edge of the frame and catches her by the shoulder, nudging her slightly away from the fall. When you zoom in, the hand appears fairly pale, but otherwise looks entirely human. Even so, Laurie stands firmly by her account, insisting with complete certainty that nobody else was present in that room with them. Picture this: a man buys a doll, and almost immediately, unsettling things start occurring around him. When he tries to take it back, the store has completely vanished, and if that wasn't bad enough, things escalated dramatically when he pulled out a Ouija board, hoping to communicate with whatever had made its way into his home. This footage was posted to TikTok by a guy going by Darvo Valkrat, and on October 30th, 2020, he uploaded another clip. Darvo was hanging out with his cousins and nephews in the living room late at night when suddenly someone outside screams for help. Pay close attention to what unfolds. As Davo pulls up his home security feed, he spots something positioned right at his window, just peering straight in. It's difficult to distinguish clearly, but it appears to be a pale, hollow-looking face. Davo wastes no time heading outside to investigate, and what his camera captures next is genuinely chilling.
Es que está muy oscuro. Fíjense la altura que se ve ya desde aquí, ¿no? Entonces, ay, me caigo. Ush, es que está muy oscuro aquí, no se ve muy bien. No se ve muy bien. Esa es la casa de mi hermana. Entonces, si se dan cuenta, voy bajando las escaleras, ¿no? Y se empieza a hacer todo más bajo, más abajo, más abajo. Este caminito que están viendo es más abajo. Es un sendero que es hacia abajo. Entonces, voy a pisar esto. Para los que digan que alguien se puso una escalera, o los que lleguen a decir que es una escalera, vean la altura. No podemos poner escaleras, para que vean, ¿ok? Yo mido 1.75. Y eso de... O sea, están viendo... Espero que se esté viendo bien, ¿eh? Pero es una altura considerable. Son más de 2,5 metros, ¿no? Entonces, para que no queden dudas de que... Y escaleras nosotros no tenemos, a menos de que digan, alguien se trepó por aquí así. Y no. Porque se asomó justamente de la parte de ahí. En esa parte fue donde se asomó. Entonces, como que los arbustos y todo eso, pues no hacen mucho
A dark shadow shoots past at an unnatural speed. What makes it even more unsettling is a pair of eerie feet visible on camera, belonging to someone or something, standing directly beside him. And then, once more, it appears lurking in the vicinity. Davo also points out that his window sits more than 7 feet off the ground, meaning whatever this creature is would need to be abnormally tall just to look through it. So what exactly is stalking Davo's family? Let me know your... Monica's page is usually full of ordinary, everyday moments. Nothing paranormal, nothing eerie, but one particular night at her office gave her an experience she couldn't just scroll past. She's pulling a late shift, completely alone in the building, when the security alarm suddenly triggers. The system is detecting motion on the upper floor, which makes absolutely no sense given that nobody else is there. Rattled and confused, she pulls out her phone and starts filming as she goes to check it out.
The alarm is still on, so there's no reason why I heard running up here. Okay, that deactivates the alarm. Oh man, I'm scared. Oh. I don't know if I could walk in there. That door keeps open. Oh hell, oh, what the fuck was that? Oh, fuck, that poster scared the shit out of me.
Monica silences the alarm and tries to keep it together, convincing herself it's probably just a glitch. But then, standing alone in that empty hallway, she's hit by an overwhelming rush of sadness, so powerful and so sudden that she breaks down in tears and can't stop. She has no idea where it's coming from. Nothing around her explains it. Then, through blurry vision, she watches a door slowly swing open by itself. Strange, unexplained noises begin drifting through the vacant office. Monica bolts back downstairs, still visibly shaken by whatever she encountered up there. Afterward, she described how that wave of grief appeared from absolutely nowhere. The second she set foot on that floor, the emotion felt foreign, like it didn't belong to her. A large portion of her viewers are convinced she crossed paths with a grieving spirit, possibly someone who died somewhere in that very building. TikTok is a platform absolutely packed with viral content, but every so often something surfaces that genuinely stops people in their tracks. That's exactly what happened when a user named S Luna posted a clip that quickly spread for all the wrong reasons. Despite having only a handful of videos on the account, this particular upload caught everyone's attention due to how completely unexplainable it appears to be. Right from the very first frame, a pale, semi-transparent figure drifts in from the left edge of the screen. The shape just hovers there briefly, with no rational reason for its presence, before fading out of existence entirely, as though it had simply never been there at all. What makes this so unsettling is that nothing like it had ever shown up on that security camera before. S Luna was left just as baffled and shaken as the thousands of viewers who watched it unfold. The idea that something like this was recorded in an ordinary family backyard, a space that's supposed to feel safe and familiar, is what really gets under your skin. It turns a completely normal setting into something far more sinister, and it leaves you wondering what might be hiding just out of sight in the places you think you know best. This chilling and bizarre footage originated in Japan and spread across the internet at a staggering pace. It was captured by a security camera mounted inside an elevator of a residential building back in 2012. The clip opens with a woman standing alone in the elevator, and then something truly horrifying unfolds. See for yourself what the camera recorded. Incredibly, the footage shows the woman's facial features shifting and morphing into those of a man right before your eyes. The entire transformation takes only a matter of seconds. Countless theories and explanations have circulated around this video, but the one that gained the most traction suggests that this woman was no ordinary person, and that what unfolded was connected to something beyond the natural world. What's your take on it? Jody Jam is employed at a theater with over 100 years of history, a venue that has seen thousands of visitors come and go across the decades, and that, by many accounts, holds on to far more than just the echoes of its past. Then one otherwise uneventful night on the job, she started noticing a heavy door repeatedly slamming by itself. Her manager wasn't a believer in the paranormal, so Jody took matters into her own hands and pulled out her phone to document what was going on. And here's what her camera picked up.
Since when does it do this? I just heard the door slam like 2 times. I'm like, my eyes are tearing. Oh my god. What the heck? I'm frozen. There's tears in my eyes. Hello? Hello? Close the door.
As she keeps filming, the door swings fully open at a slow and steady pace, as though an unseen hand were pressing it from the opposite side. Jody says that every exterior door and window in the building was shut at the time, which makes a stray draft a pretty hard sell as an explanation. Not long after, that same door drifts closed again, with nobody visible anywhere in the hallway. Jody starts to wonder whether a co-worker might be crouched somewhere nearby, pulling a prank on her, but when she steps through the doorway, she finds the space completely empty. There's no gap, no vent, nothing that could reasonably account for the movement. Maybe the answer lies somewhere in the aging bones of a century-old building. Or maybe, after all these years, that old theater still has a few permanent guests who simply never checked out. First up, we have TikTok user Jess, a certified nursing assistant pulling a late-night shift in the psychiatric ward of an old, reportedly haunted children's hospital up in Maine. That's when she notices something that makes her blood run cold.
Nobody here, right? Nobody here. What is that? Because it is not me. This is me waving, closing the door. What is that? And here comes the door back opening. And nobody's there. But yet. Hi.
A dark, human-shaped silhouette appears to be standing right in front of her, reflected in the hallway mirror, yet there's nobody physically there. One commenter on TikTok suggested she may have captured the image of a reaper, a figure said to come for souls on the verge of passing. What makes this even more unsettling is that Jess herself confirmed one of her patients died the very next day. It's also worth noting that her TikTok account has never featured any ghost or paranormal content whatsoever, just everyday clips from her life and her work as a nursing assistant. So was this the Grim Reaper caught on a mirror in a hospital hallway? That's for you to judge. A man returns home from his factory shift ahead of schedule and finds himself locked out, with the rest of the household still away and the place completely to himself. Something catches his attention after he gets out of the shower. A door at the base of the staircase is moving on its own. Slow, steady, rhythmic. No breeze, no bang. Just an eerie, gentle swaying in an otherwise motionless house. The skeptic's first instinct is going to be a draft, and honestly, that's the reasonable place to start. But drafts don't work both ways. They push in one direction, they don't pull back, and whatever is influencing that door appears to be doing exactly that. This kind of repetitive, cyclical movement tends to get linked to residual hauntings, the idea of a presence or an echo of past energy stuck in a loop, endlessly repeating the same motion with no awareness of its surroundings whatsoever. That distinction between residual and intelligent activity is actually important here, because residual energy isn't reacting to the person holding the camera. It was already doing this before they came down those stairs, and it would carry on long after. It doesn't require a witness. What's particularly worth paying attention to is the timing. The house was filled with family right up until today, and the instant someone comes home to an empty space, this is what greets them. There's a theory in paranormal circles that certain presences lie dormant when a location is busy and loud, only stirring once everything goes quiet, as though the rhythm of everyday life keeps something suppressed, and solitude is what finally lets it stir. The Cape Cod. These next two clips come from the recently declassified collection of UAP documents published on the Department of War's website. According to details provided by Arrow, the footage most likely originated from an infrared sensor and full-motion video camera mounted on a US military platform operating within the US Central Command Area of Responsibility back in 2021. The recordings were later uncovered within a batch of documents requested by members of Congress during a 2026 inquiry into unidentified aerial phenomena. As is the case with much of what was included in this release, there's frustratingly little context to go along with it. Even so, what the camera actually captured is hard to look away from. What we're seeing here is what looks like a dark, spherical object traveling through a mountainous region. Unlike a lot of the other government-released UAP footage out there, this particular clip keeps the object in frame for a notably long stretch of time, giving the sensor a chance to follow it across the terrain. What really stands out is just how zoomed in the camera is. We get a far more detailed view of this thing than we typically do in footage like this, making it much easier to study its apparent shape and the way it moves. A second clip was released right alongside the first and appears to pick up exactly where that one left off. In this follow-up recording, the same object keeps moving through the region for roughly another 50 seconds before the sensor eventually loses it. Of course, some people watching have pointed out that a conventional explanation might exist, but nothing in the footage itself makes it easy to say definitively what this thing is, which is probably exactly why the case is still open. Whether there's a mundane answer here or something far harder to explain, it's tough to argue that these aren't among the most striking clips to come out of this recent document drop. So what's your take? Was this just a distant, ordinary object caught under unusual conditions, or something that genuinely defies easy explanation? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. This unsettling clip has been floating around online for years, and its true origin remains a complete mystery. Captured by a security camera on a deserted street somewhere in Brazil, the video starts off looking completely ordinary. A woman is cycling alone through the darkness, and then something unfolds that has had people desperately searching for answers ever since. Before we go any further, one important thing to mention: nobody was injured here. The woman ended up behind the pole after her bicycle was suddenly launched into the air and came crashing back down a second later. Go back and watch it again closely, and it genuinely looks like some invisible force yanks the bike straight up off the ground. So is there a rational explanation for what we're seeing? Or is this footage concealing something far stranger? Drop your theory down in the comments below. The following videos were all recorded inside the same home, and what makes this collection so hard to dismiss is that it isn't a single isolated moment. It's a pattern, one that appears to be building, and one that seems to respond directly to the people living there. At some point, whoever is filming decided to start talking to whatever was present, addressing it by name, and according to these clips, it started answering back. The first time something happened on camera, she was sitting in the living room at night, a movie playing on the television in the background, a few drinks on the coffee table, nothing unusual about the setting at all. She speaks in a casual, almost playful tone, addressing something she calls Freddy, telling it she doesn't know its real name yet, but that she likes the one they've given it. Watch.
Come on, Freddy. I know we call you Freddy, but we don't know what to call you yet. But we like it.
Wowzers.
The moment she finishes speaking, the large glass dish on the coffee table violently flips upside down with a loud crash, knocking over one of the cans and sending its contents spilling across the table. What's striking here isn't just that the dish moved, it's the timing. She addresses Freddy, she finishes her sentence, and then it happens, as if whatever was in that room heard her and responded on cue. Skeptics will say the dish was unstable, sitting at an angle, but the force of the flip is difficult to reconcile with a gradual, physics-based shift. It didn't wobble, it went. Not long after, the activity seemed to pick up. A second person is now in the room, a woman in a leopard print robe, standing near a wooden side table on the far wall, and whoever is filming says plainly, "Don't touch it. You don't have to touch it," as if issuing a warning to something unseen. Watch.
Don't touch it. You don't have to touch it.
Objects don't move like that on their own, so whether it's a true poltergeist or something else, the escalation is hard to ignore. Then she tried something different. Rather than filming reactively, she started making requests, pointing the camera toward the side table with the potted plant and the framed wolf photo. Listen closely.
Come on. Put the light on, put the light on.
Within paranormal circles, it's often claimed that entities interact with telephones, radios, and other electronic devices because they're believed to be easier to influence than heavier objects, using small amounts of electrical energy to produce physical movement. As soon as the footage was posted, many viewers suggested the same explanation: fishing line. It seemed like the most reasonable possibility, until she uploaded another recording. Watch.
Look, the light is on. You can clearly see there is no fishing wire or strings. It's just hovering. Look at that.
This time, The room is brightly lit. She deliberately points out that the lights are on, that there are no strings, no wires, and nothing supporting the object as it appears to hover in plain sight. Some paranormal researchers refer to this as levitation phenomena, one of the rarest and most controversial claims in haunting reports, where an object appears to suspend itself without visible support. Cases like these remain highly disputed because they're also among the easiest to fake. Then the activity spread beyond the furniture. Watch.
Look, look,
Oh
look,
my
look,
God.
look, look.
Oh my
Look at that!
Until now, she'd been experiencing everything alone, and that left plenty of room for doubt. Even she admitted there were moments when she questioned whether stress, exhaustion, or expectation could be influencing what she thought she was seeing. So instead of keeping the experiences to herself, she invited a close friend over, not to investigate the house, not to perform an experiment, but simply to witness whatever had been happening. She wanted someone with no emotional investment, someone who could tell her she wasn't imagining it. Interestingly, many paranormal investigators claim that alleged hauntings often become more active when fresh witnesses enter the environment. One theory suggests that an intelligent entity may intentionally reveal itself to new people, almost as if trying to validate its existence. Another proposes that the emotional energy of multiple people in the same space provides more energy for physical manifestations, allowing activity to become stronger or more dramatic than when a single person is alone. Whether there's any truth to those ideas remains impossible to prove. But according to the woman, it wasn't long after her friend arrived that the house appeared to respond.
You'll be alright. I'm not lying, the fucking picture is levitating.
The fucking hell?
You can't see it.
A picture seems to levitate in front of two witnesses, and according to the people living there, all of it centers around the same unseen presence. They call it Freddy. In many paranormal traditions, investigators caution against naming or regularly communicating with an unexplained presence. The belief is that repeated interaction, especially treating it like a personality, may reinforce the experience psychologically or, according to paranormal belief, encourage further activity by giving the phenomenon attention. Whether that's folklore or simply a psychological effect is impossible to verify, but it's a warning that appears across countless haunting accounts. So if something really was responding, the question isn't just why it moved, it's whether it was moving because someone finally started talking to it. In this next clip, a man filming alone in his apartment at night, who starts the video almost like he can't quite believe what's been happening. He mentions the wooden cabinet behind his red and black gaming chair has been rattling all evening, the kind of persistent, aggressive rattling that sounds less like a loose hinge and more like something deliberately pulling on it from the inside. The moment he hits record, it stops, which only makes him more unsettled, not less. He keeps the camera pointed at the hutch and the chair, holding his ground, saying he can hear footsteps even though he's alone in the apartment and his neighbors have already moved out. The rattling starts up again, louder this time, more forceful, like something picking up where it left off. Watch.
Footsteps again. See, this sounds like someone was pulling on it. Hello? Yo. Yo.
What happens next is hard to look away from. The gaming chair, completely unprompted, rotates smoothly to the left in one long, continuous motion while he's watching it in real time. And before he even knows what to say, something else happens.
You do it again? Yo, I'm good on that, man. That thing just tried to pull open again. Alright, you gotta go now. Like, yo, you gotta...
Many paranormal investigators would describe a sequence like this as classic poltergeist behavior. Unlike traditional ghost stories that center on apparitions, alleged poltergeist cases are typically defined by physical disturbances, knocking, furniture moving, objects sliding across floors, and activity that appears to intensify over time. Some theories even suggest these disturbances feed on fear or emotional energy, becoming more active the longer witnesses remain engaged. Others point to an interesting detail. He notices that almost every time the camera briefly loses focus, something else happens. Some paranormal enthusiasts believe unexplained electromagnetic disturbances can interfere with camera autofocus systems before visual or physical phenomena occur. Although there is no scientific evidence confirming such a connection, skeptics, however, offer more conventional explanations. A swivel chair on a smooth floor can rotate under the right conditions, subtle vibrations can cause lightweight objects to shift, and old furniture is notorious for creaking and rattling. Those are all reasonable possibilities. But what many viewers struggle to explain is the timing. The noises stop when he begins recording. They resume when he waits. The chair turns, the organizer slides, the hutch rattles again, and the man filming gradually goes from curious to frightened to simply wanting whatever is in that apartment to leave him alone. Eventually, he makes a decision. Instead of staying to find out what happens next, he walks out of the apartment altogether, and judging by the fear in his voice, he believed something inside was hoping he wouldn't. Now, in this next video, a man is sitting in his backyard in North Lamar on what appears to be an ordinary, overcast afternoon. There's nothing dramatic about the setting. No storm, no heavy wind, just a quiet day that shouldn't be memorable for any reason. Yet something overhead catches his attention. He's filming with his phone, staring up at the sky with an expression that shifts from confusion to genuine disbelief. Watch.
For the love of God, I need help. I got home 2 hours ago, and there's a limb just floating in the air. And I've been all over Google. I can't figure out for the life of me what the hell is going on. It's just, hold on. It's just floating there. As far as I zoom in on. But I can't figure it out. It's just floating. Google's like talking about spider webs and all kinds of stupid crap, but it rained here like shortly after I got home, and it's still there. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I just can't figure it out. Right under it. Like, what the? I need help. I done talked to one of my neighbors. He is dumbfounded. I've done thrown stuff at it, and I can't hit it. It just seems like it goes right through it. But what the crap? Look at it. Like, I ain't making nothing up. It's like 20 feet in the air. Maybe 30. I don't know. I ain't good at distance. But it doesn't make sense. Somebody help me. And please, for the love of God, don't let it be them stupid people that we live in a matrix. No, we don't.
Suspended above the rooftops is what appears to be a small tree branch, green leaves still attached, drifting slowly through the air. Not tumbling, not spinning, simply gliding. He follows it with his camera for more than 2 minutes, repeatedly looking around as if expecting to find a kite, a drone, or someone playing a prank. At one point, almost under his breath, he says, "It's literally just a floating branch." The quiet way he says it somehow makes the moment even stranger. Online, viewers quickly divided into 2 camps. Skeptics suggested it could have been suspended beneath a drone using nearly invisible line or lightweight rigging. Others proposed fishing lines stretched between structures, though nothing resembling either is visible in the footage. Paranormal enthusiasts saw something else entirely. Some compared it to reports of apports, a term used in paranormal literature to describe objects that allegedly appear or are displaced without an obvious physical cause. Others linked it to stories of psychokinesis, the controversial idea that an unseen force could influence physical objects, or even elemental spirits from folklore, where branches, leaves, and stones are said to move in unnatural ways as signs of an unseen presence. Of course, none of those explanations have been scientifically verified, but that's exactly why clips like this continue to spark debate. Whatever was keeping that branch suspended, it wasn't falling. It wasn't caught in any obvious current, and for more than 2 minutes, it seemed perfectly content to remain exactly where it shouldn't have been. The following video was recorded by a man who had recently moved into an old house built back in 1912, a property with enough history behind it to already make him uneasy before anything strange even started happening. According to him, the previous tenant had suddenly left without much explanation, and after settling in, he began experiencing odd disturbances throughout the house that pushed him into researching the property's past. During a late-night spirit box session, one word reportedly kept coming through over and over again: fire. After digging deeper, he discovered that the basement of the house had been the site of an accidental fire sometime around 1965, a detail that suddenly made the atmosphere in the home feel a lot heavier. Then one night, while standing in a lit room looking down a dark hallway, he caught this on camera. Watch.
Look, it's my hand.
At the far end of the hallway, a guitar begins to sway on its own, slowly at first, before the movement starts growing stronger. Skeptics pointed toward possible drafts or airflow as the most logical explanation, but what unsettled viewers was how the motion seemed to build, almost like something unseen kept interacting with it. Paranormal theories surrounding old homes often connect fires to lingering energy, especially when the event was sudden or traumatic. Some believe places marked by tragedy can hold on to fragments of that moment for decades, replaying themselves through unexplained sounds, movement, or disturbances tied to certain parts of the house. And considering the repeated mention of fire during the spirit box session, many viewers think whatever is in that hallway may be connected to what happened in the basement all those years ago. Whatever started the movement, he never found the source. In this next clip, someone is walking through a property called the Green Manor, an old house with narrow winding staircases, dark reddish walls, a library with built-in shelves, and an upstairs room lined with antique dolls. And from the moment they point the camera at a teal wooden door in the hallway, something feels off. The door is slightly ajar, and the vintage oval doorknob on its brass backplate just sits there, still and quiet, the way doorknobs are supposed to. But then it starts to move. Watch. The knob jiggles, turns clockwise, and a sharp metallic click rings out as the latch fully disengages and the door swings open on its own. Nobody's on the other side. The person filming then pushes through, climbs the creaking staircase, and when they reach the top, they pan into a side room where a full church pew is lined end to end with at least a dozen porcelain dolls just sitting there, staring. Some people who've seen this footage think the doorknob moment is consistent with what's sometimes called a residual haunting, the idea that a location can essentially record repeated actions, like opening a door, and replay them without any conscious intent behind them. Others think something at the Green Manor is far more aware than that, pointing to the way the latch fully releases, a deliberate mechanical sequence, not just a rattle. Whether it's residual energy or something with intention, you be the judge. In this next clip, a family arrives at what looks like a spacious hotel suite. A large, well-lit room with high vaulted ceilings, a stone fireplace, a loft area, and a balcony with plenty of natural light coming through. Nothing about the space looks threatening, but the moment they reach the doorway of room 24, something happens that none of them were prepared for. Watch.
Come on, Mama!
Oh, she don't like this one. Wasn't expecting that. Dang, Big Mama. Is there something in here? We rebuke it, Kai Kai. We rebuke it. She said, Yeah. Yeah. It's shit on the toilet.
That's where you and Dad sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
What?
Close it. I'll pull out bed. This is so nice.
You welcome. I hope y'all like it. I hope y'all got some energy because we're gonna be up all night.
She immediately starts screaming, no, crying loudly, and pulling away from the room, and she doesn't stop for the entire clip. What makes this so hard to dismiss is that the girl didn't calm down. There's a belief, fairly common in paranormal communities, that young children, especially toddlers, are far more sensitive to presence than adults because they haven't yet learned to rationalize away what they're feeling. You decide what that little girl was sensing at that doorway. Now in this next clip, a man is out in his shed during the day working on tools when he notices something that stops him cold. A sound coming from a dark attic space above a storage closet he says he's never once been up into. He grabs his phone and starts filming himself, panning the camera around the cluttered shed before pulling open a narrow closet door to show what's inside. Listen closely.
Me or not, I don't care, but listen to this. I'm out in the shed working on tools. Listen. Dude, I swear to God, there's something up in this attic, man. I'm not getting up in here and shit. Do you hear that? Dude, oh my God, bro. Oh my God, man. There's something in this neighborhood, dude. Oh my God. Dude, I don't know what to do in a situation like this. Do you hear this shit, man? This thing was built before I bought this house, man. I've never gone up here one time. What the fuck was that, man? There's stuff. left from the previous owner. Oh my god, dude. Oh.
If you listen closely, you'll hear a baby crying, and it happens not once but multiple times, getting clearer and closer each time. The man's reactions are hard to fake. He slams the door, shouts, opens it again, keeps asking if you can hear it too. Then, when he finally works up the nerve to climb the ladder and hold the camera up into that dark space, the last sound he catches, right before the camera drops, is a clean, unmistakable cry of a baby coming from somewhere deep in that darkness. Some viewers think he has squatters in there, which, honestly, isn't impossible. Whatever was up there, he didn't stick around long enough to find out. So what do you think was making that sound? Now in this next clip, a paranormal investigator from Lakeshore Paranormal is in the basement of an old property at night, standing beneath a single bare bulb that cuts harsh shadows across the cinder block walls and exposed ceiling joists. He's got a spirit box scanning in one hand and what appears to be a detection device in the other, the constant static of the scanner cycling through frequencies filling the silence around him. He glances around the space, listening, waiting. Watch.
Not gonna leave until you give me a sign.
Movement back there. Shadow. Shadow like came out from the where the heater is and went back the other way. I got it on video. You can see it. It was short. It was just like a shadow that came out from there.
Are you down here?
A shadow moved from right to left. What immediately sparked debate online was the way the figure seemed to move with shape and direction, not like a flicker of light or camera distortion, but like something physically crossing. Some viewers argued it could simply be a reflection caused by someone walking past a nearby window, but according to the investigators, they were completely alone on the property that night, with no one else inside or outside the building during the investigation. So if no one else was on that property that night, then what exactly walked behind him? Now in this next clip, someone is moving through a pitch-black house in the middle of the night, using nothing but a flashlight to cut through the darkness ahead of him. According to him, before he even started recording, he had already been hearing strange noises somewhere deeper inside the house, sounds unusual enough that he decided to grab his camera and trace where they were coming from. At first, he expected to find something simple, maybe a window left open, or an animal moving around inside the walls. But instead, he found this. Watch.
Right. Second date. It's been okay so far, but... What? This is what I mean. Crazy shit. Is it like... Hello? Oh my! Oh shit! Phone's upstairs. Oh my! I couldn't. I'm leaving lights on. Look at this. I swear to
The lights suddenly begin flickering violently, throwing unstable flashes across the hallway, and just as he turns toward the staircase, something can be seen moving on the stairs, a dark shape shifting in the shadows before disappearing again. Some viewers believe the flickering lights could point toward electrical issues in an older property, but others focused entirely on the figure near the staircase, especially because in many old traditions, spirits or entities were said to linger near staircases because they symbolized movement between worlds, especially in darkened homes where visibility is limited and the human mind struggles to fully process shapes in shadow. So what do you think was waiting at the top of those stairs? The following video was recorded inside a home that's over 100 years old, using an old camera set up by a young man who was home alone and had noticed something he couldn't explain. Every time he left the room to vacuum, he'd come back and find the same bifold closet door standing wide open. No one else in the house, no obvious draft, nothing to account for it. So instead of just closing it again and moving on, he propped the camera on the floor, pointed it at the door, and went back to his vacuuming. The clip is silent, and that silence is part of what makes it so unsettling. Watch. The right panel of that bifold door begins to move, slowly, steadily, swinging open at a pace that feels almost deliberate, folding back until the closet is fully exposed. No one enters the frame, there's no rush of air, no person, no visible string or mechanism. If you watch the door's movement carefully, you'll notice it doesn't jerk or stutter the way a draft might cause. It moves with a kind of even, unhurried intention that's harder to dismiss. Some viewers familiar with residual haunting theory think older homes can develop patterns of repeated activity tied to whatever energy accumulated there over decades. But you be the judge. Now in this next clip, a man had been sitting alone at his kitchen table, reading from the Bible, not casually, but deliberately, the way someone does when they're trying to hold something back. He had a rosary laid out in front of him, a crucifix, and a small bottle of holy water. He says he picks up regularly from his local Catholic church. He mentions to the camera that he isn't feeling well, and before he starts reading, he anoints his forehead with the holy water and makes the sign of the cross. There's a weight to how he's going through these steps. Like a ritual he's performed enough times that it's become routine rather than ceremonial. He settles in and begins reading aloud from Psalms 37, verses 3 through 11. Scripture about trust, about dwelling safely, about what faith is supposed to protect you from. But midway through the reading, something happened. Watch.
Inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked should be no more. Indeed, you will. Gosh! Holy. Bro. That just closed. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Any demon in my office, evacuate now. Look. That's my magic hat. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And my attic is closed. See? Huh. And it literally dropped my hat. That is crazy. You see, guys? This is what I gotta go through daily. Like literally, daily I gotta go through this crap. I'm so fed up with it.
The door in the background slams shut with a sharp, violent bang. What's harder to dismiss is what he finds on the other side. A baseball cap lying face down on the floor just inside the doorway, which he claims was not there before. He picks it up, shows the camera the front, and says the entity dropped it. He calls his attic door out specifically, showing it secured with multiple slide locks, as if that detail is meant to explain something he doesn't want to say out loud. He ends the clip looking straight into the camera, exhausted, and says this is what he goes through daily. For those familiar with spiritual warfare theology, a violent physical reaction during scripture reading is considered significant. It's interpreted not as random haunting activity, but as direct interference, a presence responding to being named. So what was in that room with him? In the following video, a man working a late shift at what appears to be a security office in Taiwan films something he clearly wasn't prepared to explain. Watch.
I know. I know. I know. I know. Ai động đi đâu? Ai đâu? Nam mô Di Đà Phật, Nam mô Di Đà Phật. Ai đâu? Không lầy mày nữa. Nam mô Di Đà Phật, Nam mô Di Đà Phật. Có ai không? Có ai trong không? Ai đâu? Nam mô Di Đà Phật. Ai đây? Ai đâu?
Mẹ ơi.
What makes this case especially interesting is what happened afterward. According to the man, the strange activity didn't stop, and by the time another incident occurred around 10 p.m. on a different night, he had decided to take precautions. Sitting on the table are several items deeply rooted in traditional Taiwanese and Chinese folk practices. A small ceramic urn filled with ash, red envelopes, gold paper charms, and a dried root carefully arranged on a plate. A protective talisman hangs from the doorknob. And these aren't just decorations, they're meant to keep something out.
Có ngoài cửa sắt đấy, nhưng mà soi không thấy gì mà cũng chả thấy đi vào đây. Chắc hôm nay do treo hai bên cửa này cái bùa này rồi á. Đợi 5 phút rồi không thấy gì luôn rồi. Nó có 2-3 tiếng là nó thôi luôn à. Hôm nay ăn miếng chắc thỉnh mấy cái bùa này về. Chưa thấy gì. Hôm nay thỉnh. Để cái này. Hôm nay treo bùa rồi. Nó không dám vào đây nữa hay sao ấy. Nó gõ ngoài cái cửa này, nó gõ ở cái cửa này. Nó gõ ở cửa này mấy tiếng này, xong rồi không thấy gì luôn. Đến nay tầm 5 phút rồi chưa thấy gì luôn này. Sao trên top mà vẫn có á? Không biết được, chắc nó nhục. Thật đấy, hôm nay tự nhiên từ lúc treo cái này lên xong đến bây giờ chả thấy cái gì. Nó có ngoài cửa kia có 2-3 tiếng là nó thôi à. Thì không cho nó vào phòng này, cho nó mà treo để nó nghịch ngoài phòng tắm thôi. Phòng này vào đây sợ lắm. Đấy, ở ngoài kia đấy. Mọi người nghe không? Đây. Đấy. Gõ ngoài phòng kia đó. Đấy, cái cửa ngoài kia thôi chứ nó không vào cửa này.
The pallet, Jack begins to move on its own, and he starts to hear the sound of the forks lifting and lowering with no one anywhere near it. Some viewers think the warehouse may have something attached to it, possibly a spirit connected to a worker who was injured or died on site. Others point to the folk objects on that table and suggest he already knows exactly what it is. He's just running out of answers for how to stop it. Industrial hauntings aren't well documented, but there's a recurring belief in several East Asian traditions that disturbed or restless spirits will gravitate toward places of physical labor, drawn to the energy of repetitive motion and unfinished work. The pallet jack, moving on its own, fits that pattern uncomfortably well. And then in another clip, he finally saw a face. Watch. A dark humanoid silhouette, a clear head and shoulders shape, appears outside the window, holds still, then ducks away. So what does this mean? Could that be the spirit haunting this place? Until more updates are shared, this remains a mystery. Quick thing before we continue, all of our videos are now available on Spotify too, so if that's somewhere you already find yourself late at night, every compilation we've made is waiting there for you. Whichever way you'd rather watch, the link's in the description. Now back to the video. The following clips were recorded by a lady describing something she believes has taken root inside her bedroom. The first involves a bedroom recorded over multiple nights by static security cameras, with the footage compiled to highlight one specific thing, the sounds. Watch. What you hear across those 3 segments is genuinely difficult to categorize. A low, wet, rhythmic clicking, then an abrupt chirp, followed by a guttural grunt, then a rapid series of gulping and clicking noises that seem almost feeding-like in quality. There's no visible source for any of it. Some viewers immediately pointed to the possibility of an animal, a gecko, a large insect, something that wandered in from outside, but others weren't convinced, arguing that the sounds layer in a way that feels intentional, almost communicative, like something announcing itself to whoever is sleeping in that room. Those who believe in demonic attachment describe this kind of audio pattern as a kind of signature, not random noise, but a presence marking its territory. She later made a video recounting a week of feeling watched inside her room, a presence she couldn't see but couldn't shake.
I set up a camera to catch me sleepwalking, and that's what I see. I woke up with a cut up my arm. It's just barely a scar now. It attacked me with bites, with cuts. I woke up and felt like I was in a full body hum. Like I felt like what people say an MRI feels like, if I could explain that to you. My entire body was vibrating. And I felt just so, you know, like, do you know? Yeah, that's just how I felt. And we were starting to be a little skeptical about it. Like that, I am a Christian. I'm not about that black magic type stuff. Like a day after I had seen that, we had a problem with boxes in my room being destroyed in that same corner. And so I finally brought it up to my grandma, the owner of the house, and was like, hey, I don't know if you are about this stuff, but here. And she's seen the footage, and her reaction was the same as y'all's. Mine was pure confusion at first because I'm not spiritual. And the night after that I see that and I start like making reports,
She ends the clip pleading with whatever it is to stop and go away, her voice barely holding together. For some viewers, the shift from composed daytime storytelling to that level of raw, fractured panic is the most convincing part of the video. That kind of fear is difficult to perform. The scratches she described earlier carry a specific and well-documented significance in reports of demonic oppression. 3 parallel marks are often interpreted symbolically, seen by many believers as a direct mockery of the Holy Trinity, a calling card meant to provoke and unsettle. She mentions sleeping with a cross on. Whatever was in that room apparently didn't care. Now, this next video was recorded by a man who works night shift at a school he believes is haunted. Very early in the morning, just before his shift ends, he hears loud screams echoing through the building. Not clear enough to understand, but unmistakably human. Throughout the night, he rarely sleeps. Not because he isn't tired, but because things keep happening. Doors shifting, sudden bangs from rooms he knows are empty, and sounds of movement when no one else is supposed to be there. His friends dismissed it, saying it was his mind playing tricks on him, caused by the isolation, the long hours, and the quiet. But one night, he finally captured something. Watch this.
De repente como que se escucha a lo lejos gritos y aún es temprano. Mira. esa ventana. Como si algo estuviera ahí, ¿ven?
It was the usual drill, doors slamming, sudden bangs, and if you look closely, the waste bin begins to move, like something unseen is pushing it. Schools, especially older ones, carry layers of emotional energy. Generations of students and staff are passing through the same spaces year after year, and in rare cases, people believe that energy doesn't always laugh. As he moves toward what looks like an open doorway at the end of the hall, he hears something terrifying.
Listo. Les digo. Y estoy yo solo.
The clear, high-pitched giggle of a young girl rings out, once, then again, more pronounced, carrying a slight echo as if it belongs to the hallway itself. The man jerks the camera sharply to the right and into total darkness, the kind of involuntary reaction you don't fake. Earlier in the walk, he had the camera pointed at a closed staff restroom door when a loud mechanical sound abruptly kicked on from inside the empty room, like an automatic hand dryer, activating with no one there to trigger it. 2 unexplained sounds in one building, one night, one man alone. Some think the giggle could be a recording artifact, a stray audio bleed from somewhere in the building, but a lot of viewers who've watched this one more than once say the echo on that laugh sounds exactly like a child standing just out of frame. What do you think was in that school with him? This next video was recorded inside a home at nighttime, filmed entirely in silence by a man making his way through the house with what appears to be his phone. No names are given, no voices, no explanation, just a slow, deliberate walkthrough that begins at the front door and works its way deeper inside. He opens the front door briefly, peers out into the darkness, then pulls back and moves into a pitch-black area beneath the stairs. Barely visible, barely anything to see at all. It feels like someone checking whether they're alone. Then he heads down to the basement. Exposed brick walls, rough concrete floors, cardboard boxes, and broken debris scattered around under a single warm light that does almost nothing to help. The whole place has the feeling of somewhere that hasn't been touched in a while, and that alone puts you on edge. Watch.
Alright, so I just started hearing banging coming from the basement, which is not happened yet before. There it is. There it is. What the f? Let's go and check this out. Sketchy shit happening in this house, man. It's coming from upstairs now. What the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit. What the fuck? Why are you doing this? Oh, what the? Oh no, no.
When he makes his way back up to the main floor and turns toward the kitchen, every drawer and cabinet door in the room is wide open. Not knocked over, not broken, not thrown across the room, but opened as if someone worked through the space methodically and deliberately. 3 full drawers pulled completely out, upper and lower cabinet doors standing open without a single thing disturbed otherwise. That distinction matters to a lot of viewers because poltergeist activity, as it's often described in paranormal accounts, tends to follow that same pattern. Not destruction, but rearrangement, as if something is trying to be noticed rather than feared. Skeptics point out that every drawer in that kitchen could have been opened before the camera started rolling, and they're not wrong to ask. But the silence, the darkness, the unhurried walk through the house, it all adds something harder to explain away. What was he expecting to find? The following video was recorded on a home security camera, the kind most parents set up just to keep an eye on their kids while they sleep. And for this family, that decision ended up catching something no one had an easy explanation for. Both children, a girl and a boy, are tucked into bed together, completely still, deep in sleep. Nothing looks out of place. It's the kind of quiet nighttime scene you'd expect to scroll past without a second thought. But according to the person who shared this footage, something had been feeling off in that room for a while, an unease they couldn't quite name, the sort of thing parents tend to dismiss because there's no way to explain it to anyone else. That changed when they actually reviewed the camera. Watch. In the dead of the night, a game controller is violently yanked off the nightstand by something completely invisible, its cord going taut, mid-air, before the whole thing crashes to the floor. But that's not all. At the exact same moment, the bed covers depress as if a weight has just settled onto the mattress beside the sleeping children, and the headphones sitting on the same nightstand shift and rock. 3 separate objects, disturbed simultaneously, while both kids stay completely asleep. The parent who shared this footage also points out that just before it happens, the boy's hand makes a small, twitching motion. Whether he caused it or something else moved him first is genuinely unclear, and in the enhanced audio, right before the crash, there's something faint and breathy, too indistinct to make out as words, but there if you listen closely enough. Some people believe what's caught here is poltergeist activity, a type of paranormal disturbance historically linked not to a haunted location, but to a person, often a child or a teenager in the household. The theory goes that this kind of energy feeds off proximity to young people, particularly during sleep when awareness is low. Others aren't convinced by that framing and think the answer is simpler, though none of the simple answers fully account for three objects moving at once. What you can't easily explain away is the cover, something pressed down on that bed. The second clip in this set comes from a completely different household, recorded in broad daylight, which in some ways makes it harder to dismiss. A woman and a young man are in the house together when the woman, almost casually, asks out loud for the front door to close. Listen closely.
Close the door. Can you close the door, please? What the?
Let me ask. Open the door if you need help.
What the?
You do?
Oh my! It opened it wide as shit. Oh my god!
Close the door if you need help.
I swear to God, I put it on.
Oh my! What is it doing? What the? Bro, no! Yes, I knew. Yes, I knew. Elgin, please.
Do you see
Elgin,
it?
can you please? It's closed all the way, bro. It's closed all the way.
Open it all the way if you need help.
This place haunted.
Oh my god!
Close the door if you need help. Close the door.
I'm getting scared. I'm gonna cry, bro.
The door moves on its own, first closing slowly, then swinging wide open on command, then slamming shut with enough force to make the whole room react. Then it opens again. Then it slams a second time, even harder. The woman's voice goes from surprised to genuinely terrified in under a minute, and the young man eventually says plainly, "This place is haunted," which honestly is hard to argue with after watching that. What makes this clip particularly unsettling isn't just that the door moved, it's that it responded. It followed instructions. Whatever was on the other side of that door wasn't wandering or passive, it was listening. Some viewers think this kind of interactive behavior points to a communicative presence, something aware enough to engage rather than simply disturb. Skeptics will say air pressure, a draft, loose hinges, but those explanations don't hold up against a door that opens on request twice in a row and slams shut on cue. So what would you do if something in your home started answering back?